Because right here on the front of the box, you got a picture of a Jeep. And what does every Jeep guy like to do? Yeah, blind the hell out of you when he's driving down the road. So obviously those lights don't aim at the ground, they aim in your face. Hey guys, Rusty here. So, on my last video, I mentioned and showed how I installed those LED lights, but I mentioned that they had like a bit of a, adjustment problem. So it ends up being that there's about a 10-foot or so in front of the truck. I'll try to frame about the area. Yeah, about like that, right? So if you're in the truck, I'll put this chair about right here. Up until about where that chair is, on the ground is a dark spot. Out that way, of course, we can see great, right? So I don't want to say the headlights are totally terrible, but I want to fill in the gap. And there was some old fog lights here on this bumper when I got it. So there's holes already drilled in, so I don't feel bad about putting something through those holes. And so that brings us to where we are now, which is with these little LED fog lights I bought. And they are yellow. And I probably run these things with the running lights, or maybe I'll just run them off of, I think I'll run them off the headlight actually. So they're gonna bracket it out and they'll be about right there. But just to give you an idea. So I don't think that's gonna look too bad. That light's gonna move up to the bottom of this grill section about right here. But I don't think that's gonna look too bad. And remember, these clearance lights up here are a rectangular shape as well. It would be nice if I lined them up exactly, but it'll be in the way of the headlight, and plus, I'd have to drill an extra hole in the bumper. So I think I'm gonna go with that. I didn't see any holes at the bottom. No, it's a fairly thin lip too for this bumper. So we're not gonna do that. Those wires just naturally, just on their own, fell down there. It's like it wants to live, it wants to be there. So anyways, we're gonna get those installed. The sun is, gonna be coming down in a couple of hours, so we'll have it installed by then. We can go test drive it. I already know from reviewing the footage from the lights that the GoPro doesn't exactly show how it looks driving at night. But hey, it is what it is. So I'm gonna get the brackets installed on the lights themselves, and then kind of mock it up and then show you what I'm thinking about. This is the hardware it came with. Came with a little Allen wrench, some Allen head bolts, and then the larger bolts to actually mount it. So just gonna test it up real quick. Yeah, probably need a washer, I don't know if this washer is gonna do it, so I'll have to go scrounge up and find some washers, but I don't blame that on the product because those holes are already there. Found a couple things wrong with the product for my application. Now you see I followed the contour of the bracket, and with the bolt installed it hits the base and it won't allow you to aim it, straight out 0 degrees. It's got a little bit of angle upward, degree or two, right? You can't close that any further. So I just switched the bracket around, right? Put the bracket on there backwards. Now I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, you can definitely tell. You can see now I would be able to aim it down like so, which is what I want to do, right? Now that I can't actually hold against him, because right here on the front of the box, you got a picture of a Jeep. And what does every Jeep guy like to do? Yeah, blind the hell out of you when he's driving down the road. So obviously those lights don't aim at the ground, they aim in your face. So I don't blame him for that one. But here, this little Allen head bolt, I got her fully seated, and yeah, see, it's not tapped out all the way, so I'm gonna add a washer or two to that. The other three were tapped out all the way, just not that one hole. So anyways, that's a little bit of issues I'm running into. I'm going to use one of these supplied washers to shim it out, I guess. I got these other washers. Actually, I'll use this washer at mine. And then these bigger washers are going to be to fill the gap of the hole. Don't blame that on the product. I tested these babies on a battery, but I don't want to reveal that to you right off the bat. So I tested those, and they both work. So now I think I'm going to get it installed. All right, gonna go ahead and tighten this baby down, and then we'll be able to adjust it from there. Turns out I didn't need it to be pointing directly down, but I don't think that looks too bad. There we go. There we go. Just level her out a little bit. Tighten it down. Make sure it is straight. And yeah, it's kind of hard to tell on the front of the truck because it's curved. So I'm just gonna line the bracket up with the back of the bumper. I'll show you when I get that next one in, and we'll just call that good. Lost my socket. Yep. All right, now we get this other one down. Running 2 washers. Is this in my view? It is, but I have to come around this way. Okay. Don't want to block your view. You know what I mean? You're here to see it, right? So let's let you see it. Okay. I'm using my fingers for my left hand to hold the washers in place. I get the hardware on, the 2 washers and the nylon nut, you know, locking nut, whatever, which doesn't want to thread on for some reason. Don't tell me that those threads are messed up. Come on. Has everything gotta be a struggle? Doesn't really have to be a struggle all the time. These flies are so annoying. I want the 100-degree heat already, so the flies just can't bother me anymore. So that nut didn't go on there very far, but it started. So hopefully I don't strip that little bolt out, then I'd have to go buy more bolts. I thought the nut fell off. No, it just got past that rough spot. Alright. Funny. Sometimes, you know, it's just too hard for your hands, and then as soon as you touch it with the wrench, it just goes. Now whoever drilled that hole drilled this hole a little further forward by about 1/8 of an inch. Well, that's annoying, but no one will notice. So you guys will know, but no one in the real world will notice. All right, sorry I'm blocking the camera, but I gotta hold it. Tighten it down. All right. I don't think that looks half bad. Let me bring you in and show you. See, that one's about 1/8 of an inch off. That one is like right on. There you go. Let me lower the hood. show you what that looks like. Get these washers out of here, save my hardware. I'm not going to close it, but see, from a distance I don't think it really looks too odd. This one looks to be aimed up a little bit. I don't know if they're exactly in the right same spot either. Yeah, I guess so. That one seems to be over a little bit to the right, following this line here. Well, I don't think anyone will know unless they look real hard, but let's go ahead and get her wired up and see what happens there. All right. Okay, so I got this thing wired up in such a way that when it's on low beams, the fog lights will be on. When it's on high beams, they'll turn off. So check it out. I only got the one hooked up right now with the test lead. So that's a low beams. Switch to highs and it should be turning off. Back to lows, it should be on. All right, looks like what we need to do is pull in from that wire right here, and we'll run that down to the positive of this light, and then we'll run a wire under here into the positive of this light. And then I think what I'll do is I'll just ground this to the bumper. Hopefully that makes a good enough ground, unless there's somewhere else that these wires can reach. Doesn't look like they can reach anything else. It's gonna be any better than the bumper. So we'll just ground that, and that should be it, hopefully. I'll bring you back when they're working for the reveal. All right, guys and girls, here it is, time for the reveal. We got the high beams on right now. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the switch, and we're gonna go to low beams, and the yellow fog lights are gonna turn on. I also went ahead and aimed them all the way down because I felt like they'd be blinding other drivers because they're very bright, like head on. So I aimed them all the way down. Be able to tighten that up here in a second. Here we go, going to the low beams. Looks pretty good. I can see where it's hitting the ground down here. Let's see, I don't know. Yeah, you can see a little bit yellow on the white gravel. So, you know, they're aimed down this way. I think that's gonna be all right. I'm gonna wait for it to get dark, and then we'll see how this looks, you know, from sitting in the truck looking up my driveway. So I'll be back in an hour or so. See what happens. Then I'm going to take it for a test drive and see how it actually functions when I'm driving. See if I'm not getting a bunch of these guys, you know, hitting me with the bright lights. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. All right, guys, that's just the running lights on the truck. I'm going to go ahead and walk over and turn on the headlights, cycle through the highs and the lows, and see if everything's working right. I think that's pretty good. You can see the pattern of the yellow light. We were filming from that chair right there. You can see the pattern of the yellow light is mostly on the ground. Right about there is where it ends, you know, adjacent to this tree before it even gets to that chair. So I think that's pretty good. Let's see how it looks from inside the cab. There we go. Looking out the window. Go ahead and turn on the brights. Back down to the low. So it's kind of wide and low, which is pretty good, is what you want. Now I don't know how this is going to behave in the fog, but we'll know soon enough. Anyways, I'm going to go on my test drive. I think it's going to be fine, because at this level they're not super bright. You know, you start getting lower. This is not very high off the ground, just about at 2 feet. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.